Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello. How are we? Check, check, check.
Hello. Hello, 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 hello.
Excellent. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Let's post our social medias. Let the people know. Happy holidays to everyone. It is currently Christmas Eve. You guys have any interesting Christmas plans? If you're a celebrator of Christmas, if not, do you have any interesting, what is it, Sunday, Monday plans? Or any other holidays coming up that you plan to celebrate? Also, is the stream, can you see and hear me? Is it loud enough? One of my Christmas presents, someone got me a tiny Rubik's Cube. I'm pretty excited about it. It's kind of hard to solve because it's so small and it, like, my fingers cramp up while I'm doing it, but I'm still excited to do it. And it kind of it doesn't move very well, but it's probably hard to get little bearings in there or whatever you need to put in a Rubik's Cube. It's actually a pretty gloomy day here. This happens a lot in Alabama, or at least in Birmingham, Alabama, where I am, where it like rains during Christmas. Like we rarely get a white Christmas. We just get a wet Christmas. And so it's not currently raining, but it's very wet and, you know, just cloud cover everywhere. Like it looks like it's definitely going to rain. What's that cord? Oh, that's my light. I've had to rearrange my room a little bit. Well, kind of. Probably not in any way that you can tell from looking, but I have I upgraded my bed. I upgraded to a queen size bed. I had a twin before, which is awful. It's like a child's bed. But I have like my room is tiny. So, having a twin or a full size bed it seems feasible, but I upgraded and now like there's like no room. Like basically what you can see in the camera is everything except the bed. Everything else that's in this room is taken up by bed. That's how small my room is. But it's interesting though, because when there's less room, you can kind of organize things better, because you can just sort of play Tetris with all the shit in your room and just kind of fill in the gaps easier. Because when there's a bunch of extra room, you have like just a bunch of random space, and sometimes it just looks more cluttered that way. Yeah, dude, that's my green screen was up against that wall, but I might have to move it somewhere because the bed is in front of it now. So I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing some different things in my videos. I might maybe not use a green screen, or I may like, I don't know. I may like buy some extra or buy a different green screen because I just kind of bought just like a cheap green sheet on Amazon without really knowing what it was going to be like. But they sell like better green screens that aren't like, you know, cloth sheets. You know, they're made of whatever that material is that's just better at you know, it doesn't wrinkle, and it doesn't I think it's better at reflecting light or something like that. I could use the wall on its own. I don't know. I'd have to just see how that looked. I feel like that would be a really boring background if it was just a white wall. And it's not even white. It's like off white. I don't know. It's like light a light beige color or something. But I could like overexpose the camera or something and make it look white. But you know, that's actually, you know, like the infinite white wall, like that's a common thing, you know, sort of like the Apple look from the old Apple commercials. That's the thing that people do. Maybe I could do that. I've had to throughout my career, I have had to come up with a lot of creative and ghetto ways to set up my filming situation and different types of lighting setups to make it look kind of decent. Like if you look back at some of the old videos, like some of the old videos just have horrible lighting. There's like shadows all over my face. So, you know, I've just kind of had to make do with what I got. Like in the last place I lived, just my room just had awful lighting. And it wasn't a lot of space to really have a setup. But eventually I started doing videos in an office that was sort of like that no one used, but it just had a bunch of stuff in there and I had to clean it out. And honestly, that was a pretty good setup. It was probably my best setup to date. Like it's probably even better than the green screen. But the thing about the green screen is you can just put up the green screen anywhere and just use it, and you can make all your videos look the same. So I figured that would be useful. Do you think that videos become a choice between creativity and budget after a point? Well, yeah, I mean, you're always limited by your budget, but when you have more creativity, you can make a lot of things happen even on a low budget. Like my goal, my idea was that maybe if I perfect the green screen and I get the, you know, invest in like a decent setup, that I can make a semi-professional looking web show even on a very low budget. I don't think I got there yet, but I kind of have an idea of how that could work. Thank you, Tater Poot. Merry Christmas to you as well. Thanks for taking a moment from your work to say hello. But I don't know. I've been thinking about doing some other things beyond video, or at least beyond YouTube. Like I've been like looking into a lot of research and stuff about just content creation and business and stuff, and a big part of it is understanding how your content is being distributed. And obviously, like, you want as much distribution as possible, and it's just really hard to do that when the only method of distribution of your content is YouTube. And for me, I put my videos on Facebook as well, and they get decent views a lot of the time on Facebook. But I don't know. I think there's so much more. The internet is so much bigger than just YouTube and Facebook and stuff. So I might look into some other things. What's the best way to contact me in private? Probably email. I check email fairly frequently, but I don't think I've checked it in a few days. I don't know, just the past week or week and a half has been sort of like a friend week for me, because a lot of people are going out of town for the holidays, or they're trying to like hang out with their friends on the holidays. So I've just been hanging out with friends while they're available. And I don't think I was actually supposed to hang out with a friend today, but I don't know if that's going to happen. And then tomorrow's Christmas, so I'm going to be hanging out with family. But then back after that, I'll probably be back on the old routine. Because usually I just like, I check my email like every day almost. Because, I'm not the most serious fucking entrepreneur or anything, but there's often important emails that I have to make sure that I get and that I respond to. Because sometimes people, gotta make those connections, gotta make those deals. But yeah, I think that's the only way you can contact me in private. You could send me a voicemail on my voicemail machine, but you'll never get responded to unless I decide to respond to it in a video. But it doesn't sound like it's that kind of message. Do you see yourself making short films at some point? I don't know. I might try something like that, but I don't really think of myself as a filmmaker, and I don't particularly desire to be a filmmaker. It would be cool to write a short film and then have someone else make it. Like, I'd be into that. It might even be cool to be in a short film that someone else made. I'm not sure if I want to make one though, but I just might do it just to try it. I think I want to do a podcast. Like, honestly, this is kind of I talked to my patrons about this already, but I may just turn my YouTube channel into a more relaxed YouTube channel where I do streams and just quick vlogs and stuff, and have my main show be a podcast instead of a video series. but I don't know if that's just going to alienate the entire audience and make everybody hate it. But it's just, going back to what I was talking about, distribution, like podcasts, there's just so many different ways to distribute a podcast, and it's just more convenient to listen to a podcast. They're easier to make. People take them more seriously. So I don't know. I off center, thanks for coming to the stream. Yeah, I honestly need to use Instagram more. I'm like bad at Instagram. It just doesn't mesh with me, I guess. I don't know. I don't get it. Is that a new hairstyle? No, I just tied my hair back. Yeah, I was thinking, and I'm not trying to do like a 2-hour podcast or anything. Like, there's like podcasts that are like monologues or like storytelling podcasts. That's sort of kind of like what I envision. But we'll see. Well, if I do a podcast, I'm definitely not going to be doing the same kinds of videos. I mean, I'll still do videos. I don't think I'm ever just going to leave YouTube. But the videos are going to be more relaxed and unscripted and things like that. But and the podcast that I make will be put on YouTube for sure. I may make a separate channel for the podcast though, but do you know of Stuart McLean? McLean? No, who's that? I don't know, it just might be time to try something new. If it just completely fails, then we'll just try something else. That's life. Because I've been making videos for a long time. And, it's been a slow gain, I guess. And maybe if I just keep trucking it for years and years, I'll eventually get somewhere that works out. But maybe I'm just, sometimes you need to, take a sharp left and just see what happens. And there's ways like I think the main, at least among my patrons, the main resistance to the idea was just the fact that some people just don't they don't have the time to sort of listen to a long podcast, which I don't intend it to be that long, honestly, but but there's ways I think to clip it up and to like someone suggested do like a video intro to the topic and then let that lead into the podcast, which is an interesting idea. But I don't know, it just depends on the workload, because it takes like to make a regular video that like my normal video now takes a lot of work. It's like it's like anywhere between 10 and 20 hours of work per video. Especially if you count the brainstorming and writing process and all that, and then what you have to do after the upload, including like tags and thumbnails and all that stuff. So it's a lot of work. So I'm not trying to double the workload. So I'm definitely gonna have to choose one to focus on. But I can still make videos that are just easier to produce. He's a storyteller from Canada. He has a storytelling podcast. Oh, I will check that out because I'm definitely, I need to do a lot of research, because the weird thing is that a lot of podcasts that people like are either interview type podcasts or like conversation type podcasts. But there are a lot of like storytelling podcasts and monologue podcasts, and I need to like research them and see what they do. But I feel like it's about to be 2018. Maybe it's time to try something. And honestly, like I've talked, I've said this before, but in terms of making videos, the actual shooting of the video is my least favorite part. Like, I like writing the video, I like coming up with ideas, and I like editing the video. I think editing is my favorite part, but the actual shooting of it is my least favorite part, which is weird because it's probably the least time consuming part, but it's just the most obnoxious part to me. What's up, Elias? Has there been any random encounter with a viewer? Yeah, I've run into people pretty frequently. There's a lot. My videos have sort of been shared around a lot in my town among like my friend groups and stuff. So a lot of times I'll just be out like eating or having a drink or something, and someone will just be like, "Hey, are you that guy from YouTube?" I was like, "Yeah." So I'm not like leaving YouTube. That's not I think that some people got that impression that I was just like gonna quit YouTube, but that's not the idea. But it will definitely be different. I kind of miss the old YouTube days when I didn't care about the algorithm and like the views and like making sure my topics were good enough. Like, I miss just making videos that just because I wanted to, because they were fun. And I mean, I still make videos that I want, but I'm like super concerned with all of the algorithm stuff. And it would be cool to just get back out of that. The live chat looks crappy on the screen. Does it? It looks cool. It looks fine to me. Is it too small? It might be the bit rate or something. Or maybe your YouTube is not running in HD. Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like I can never do a live stream without at least something going wrong. Did I hear about Max Landis? What did Max Landis do? Sexual assault allegations levied at Max Landis on Twitter. Interesting. Huh. Well, that's how it goes. Don't do that. I know that people have always I hadn't previously heard of the sexual abuse stuff, but I know that people who have worked with him have always talked about the fact that he's like not a good person. And he really comes off as like kind of a dick just in general, but I try not to judge people based on those kinds of impressions because sometimes people just aren't good at expressing themselves in a decent way. But he does come off as just like a really like sort of smug person. But I've been a fan of some of his work in the past, and I don't know much about him as a person. Did I hear about Boogie getting divorced? I did hear about that. Best of luck to him. It seems like that there was an amicable parting. Hello, a very dead horse. It says that Anna Akana accused him, which is interesting because Anna Akana just worked with him like fairly recently, like maybe like 2 years ago on the wrestling short film he made. So like if she is calling him a sexual assaulter now, that means that this is at least she either heard about it recently or he's done something recently. Because a lot of times it'll be something like, oh, you assaulted me like 10 years ago. But if it was that recent, then it's like, damn, dude. Merry Christmas. But as I've said before, like, I hope that we have learned not to deify celebrities. Like, if we've learned anything, can we just learn that you don't know these people, and just because they make stuff that you might like it has literally no bearing on whether or not they're a good person. Merry Christmas, Daniket. Do you think it's wrong to fap on leaked celeb nudes? Yeah, in most cases, I guess. Because it's because they probably don't want you to do that. They probably don't want you to even see them. If it's a situation where they don't care and they've made it clear that they don't care, then whatever. But it makes me uncomfortable when it's very clear that they don't want anyone to see it, which is usually the case because that's why they've been leaked, because they were private at first. But at the end of the day, if what you do in the privacy of your own home that's not hurting anybody, I'm not that worried about it. But that's just how I personally feel about it. Never been around for this. This is wild. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. I stream every Sunday. For those that don't know, I have a stream every Sunday. The timing is kind of inconsistent, but it's usually around now is when I start. Can you make that video on Philip DeFranco that you tweeted about making a while ago? I don't know. I'm probably not going to. I don't. My goal on YouTube is not to call people out. It doesn't seem. It's not that interesting to me. I'll do a couple tweets, but I'm not gonna write and produce and edit a whole video about a single person that ultimately, unless that person is like Trump or someone, someone that like has influence over the whole world. Hello, Melody Spin. Any snow where I'm at? Nope. It's looks like it's about to rain. Actually, it's pretty gloomy outside. We had like 2 days of snow, or like really 1 day of snow, and it stuck for 2 days. About a couple weeks ago, but that was it. I think that was the only day it snowed all year. I'm in Alabama. We rarely get snow on Christmas. So far, in terms of Christmas gifts, I've got a toaster. I put a toaster on my wish list, and someone bought it for me. Just a viewer bought it for me, so that was awesome. And then I got my tiny Rubik's cube that a friend bought me. And then hopefully I think my mom might get me some socks or something, which I need. And I bought myself some stuff. I bought myself this 2 terabyte external hard drive that I needed to back up my videos because they're starting to take up too much space on my computer. What kind of music do I listen to? I like all genres. I probably like hip hop the most, but I don't really keep up with music. Like I'm not like an avid music listener. I just kind of listen whenever. I don't seek out new music. I just kind of listen to stuff that I grew up listening to. And every now and then I'll pick up a new song that I like. How do you feel about porgs? Is that the thing from Star Wars? I haven't seen the new Star Wars movie, so I don't know what's going on. I keep seeing all these images. Did you hear about Lorde canceling her concert in Israel because the BDS movement people were pressuring her to do it? I didn't hear about that. Who's your favorite hip hop group of all time? Probably Outkast. Well, I mean, definitely Outkast. What do you think of Jordan Peterson? I oscillate between appreciating my nuggets of truth that he speaks and just being astounded by how dumb some of the shit he says is. Well, I guess if I'm being honest, I don't know a lot about everything that he says. But the reason I don't is because I kind of stopped watching him and stopped taking him seriously because of some of the stupid stuff that he said. So like with me, for me, like I don't believe that I need to pay attention to everything that everybody says. I feel like for my own mental health and my own happiness, I'm just going to divvy out my attention only as much as is needed. So if I find a person that I just feel like is just saying a bunch of stupid stuff all the time, I'm not going to pay attention to them anymore. Because there's better things that I could be watching, reading, listening to. That's kind of how I feel like Jordan Peterson. From what I understand, he says a lot of smart stuff when he's talking about areas within his expertise. But he talks about areas that are not within his expertise. And that's when he starts getting on the crazy train. What are your thoughts on JonTron? Have you watched him before or after the comments he made on that stream? Yeah, I used to be a really big fan of JonTron. I haven't watched him since. I don't know. I'm just ambivalent. I think I'm still subscribed to him, and maybe I'll watch the videos at some point, but just kind of feels weird. Like, I don't know what the hell what was going on with him. Like, my initial reaction to him when all that stuff started was, oh, here's just another fucking shitlord gamer who's got caught up in this anti-feminist bullshit, which is like annoying, but I can deal with that. But then, he got on the stream and he was just like, I mean, literally, not without exaggeration, saying white separatist talking points, like literally. I was like, oh, that's a little bit further than just being annoyed at feminists. Like that's a step too far. So I don't know about all that. But I think that just goes back to the conversation of separating art from artists and whether you're okay to do that. And in general, I'm okay to do that. And in fact, I'm more likely to do it now because of how many people that make stuff I like have turned out to be awful people. And I just can't go around having everything that I like be ruined. Like that sucks. But I haven't brought myself to watch JonTron since then. And to be honest, it's I'm not losing sleep over it. If I watch it, I watch it. But before, I was a really big fan of JonTron. I think I used to say that he's, you know, perhaps the best gaming channel on YouTube. Or, you know, I guess it's more than a gaming channel at this point, but it's sort of like a pop culture comedy review channel or whatever. It's, you know, the videos, I was a big fan. Like I religiously watched the videos. It would be cool to see Lefty YouTube expand, and it's kind of expanding. Like you're gonna see people like H Bomber Guy and Sean and ContraPoints, like they're gonna blow up. They're, you know, they're each gonna get several 100,000 subscribers, no doubt about it. But that's only you know, a few people. But I think the reason that the YouTube left doesn't expand is just because of what YouTube itself encourages people to make. Like YouTube encourages, you know, daily content that just is pumped out, and not even just YouTube, but in general, it's much easier to rile people up when you're being like combative and accusatory and like dramatic. Like that's just what people like, you know. And that's been proven time and time again with media and even fiction. People just like drama and fucking Mortal Kombat, and the right wingers are just better at doing that. I'm not keeping up with what happened with Kraut and T. I have no idea, and this is part of my new strategy of not paying attention to things that is just, there's just so much better things that I could be listening to and reading and stuff. Like I think what's gonna happen with me is I'm moving more towards the outskirts of this whole conversation. Like I'm just not involved. I don't want to be involved in this like YouTube war between people and drama between YouTubers. Like I don't give a shit about these people, man. I just want to talk about stuff that's interesting to me. Like there are people who are considered like the YouTube left, but literally all they post about, all they make videos about, all they tweet about are other YouTubers. They don't talk about progressive issues. They don't talk about how to make the world better. They don't talk about policy. They talk about other YouTubers. And it's like, I don't find that useful, and I don't want to be a part of that. Any advice for people who want to get involved in the conversation the YouTube left? I think it would be fun to make videos, but also horrible. Yeah, well, it just depends on what you want to get out of it. If you're trying to like jump in head first and jump right into the middle of the shit storm, you know, good luck to you. You know, that I think that would be awful, but some people just like that. Some people like the challenge. Some people like, you know, the drama. And if you're trying to make a successful YouTube channel, then that's, you know, that's beyond, you know, you have to use certain strategies for that. I don't think if your niche is like, I make videos about progressive topics in politics, I don't think that's a recipe for a successful YouTube channel. It has to be more than that. So like a way that a lot of people have succeeded is by taking a progressive approach to pop culture. So, and that's people like Lindsay Ellis, Bob Chipman, even like Nerd Writer. You know, these people that their videos aren't necessarily about politics, but you can tell the progressive slant on their videos. And everyone loves, you know, movies and comedy and things like that. So it's easier to build an audience if you just make like a really good video essay about like a movie or something. And then there's people who combine it with gaming, like H Bomber Guy, who's, you know, arguably more of a gaming channel than a politics channel. So I think you just need to have a unique slant to it. If your goal is to be popular or successful, if you don't really give a shit about being popular or successful, then I say just get on there, make stuff that you like, and just focus on your content and making it as good as you want it to be, and just keep doing that, and you'll build a little bit of an audience. If the videos are, you know, even halfway decent, you're gonna get some people watching. And especially if you're involved in the community, like if you make friends with some of the other people in the community, you know, you'll leech off their audience, and some of them will become your biggest fans. Like there are people who found me from another channel, and then they decided they like my stuff better, and vice versa. People found another person from my channel and decided, oh, I like them way better, and that's fine. That's how it goes. People have their own preferences. Like I found Vlogbrothers from watching Charlie McDonnell and Alex Day, and Vlogbrothers is now like my favorite YouTube channel of all time. So but I don't know. I think that the YouTube left, if they want to like be successful and have more influence on the site, we need to sort of switch up how we're doing it. We need to focus more on engaging our own audience, and we need to just focus on making more universal and interesting and entertaining content. I do remember Dan Brown, and I remember collabing with him and his audience. It was pretty cool. I was pretty excited about that because I grew up a big fan of Dan Brown. Like Dan Brown used to be like one of the, you know, most popular YouTubers. So I definitely came up in YouTube being a big fan of his. The thing about YouTube right now is there's so much bingeable, entertaining content. They just pump it out without giving a shit. Yeah, and that's what's gonna succeed on YouTube. And I think that's why a lot of sort of right-wing content works, because a lot of it is just every day they just put out a rant or something, or every day they just put out a response video. So if you can just pump out these videos over and over again, you can, you know, the algorithm favors that, and you get suggested on everybody's homepage and shit like that. It's just really hard to do that if, for example, if your channel is well researched responses to like video essays, or like, you know, if it takes you a week of research to do your video essay about why this is this, you know, that, you know, YouTube's algorithm doesn't really favor stuff like that. I think there's a sizable number of people that watch YouTube videos that like stuff like that, but succeeding on YouTube to the extent that the really popular channels succeed pretty much requires YouTube to suggest you to other people. And they're just less likely to do that if you're making one video a month or something. This is the entire reason why the animation community like is almost dead on YouTube, because it takes too long to produce an animation video. So they either have to release shittier videos more often, or they just have to take like a month out to make their big video, or even more. You know, like the thing is, animation videos, it'll take a month to make like a minute and a half long video. Like, I don't think I can't even remember the last time YouTube has suggested an animation video to me. Like, I can't remember the last time I've seen an animation video on the trending page, you know, stuff like that. Cause it's not favored by the algorithm. But here's the thing, you don't need to have 1 million subscribers in order to have an impact and to be successful on YouTube. But you need a certain amount, you know, you need more than 5,000. I think 100 to 200,000 is a good benchmark of, hey, this is something that is really catching on and has people excited. But even getting to that threshold is going to be hard unless you have some really interesting content. What is your opinion of the left adapting edginess to attract people? I mean, I don't have a problem with that as long as they're not doing it in an unethical or dishonest way. But I don't think edginess is necessary. But you can if that's what you want. You know, like Dick Coughlin, for example, I think he's edgy, and I think that's why a lot of people like him. How can a dead channel revive itself to be big again? Just start making videos every day. If your channel's dead, but you have a lot of subscribers, it's possible that you can re-engage those subscribers. But what you should expect, and I can kind of talk about this because this kind of happened to me. Like, it's hard to say my channel was dead, but my channel definitely like plateaued for like almost like a year and a half, where I had like less subscribers a year later than I did the year before. And a lot of that, it wasn't necessarily because I stopped making videos, but it's because I was unmotivated to make decent videos, and I was just kind of putting out random stuff. And also just my life situation made it hard to even make videos and make them good, which is part of why I was unmotivated, because I was just sad about it. But really, you just have to start over almost. You just have to assume, even if you have a lot of subscribers, you have to assume that many, if not most of them, are gone and moved on to better things, to other things. And so you just have to start over and kind of ignore the numbers that you have and just try to engage those few people that are still left. Do you hear about Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks being forced to resign from the Board of Justice Democrats? I heard about the whole thing. I didn't know that they actually made him resign. But, you know, do what you gotta do, I guess. All right, Galago, thank you for coming to the stream. Do I have any big goals for 2018? Not any like specific. I mean, my goal is just to make the come up, just to keep growing and figuring out. Well, one goal is to get out of debt. That's one thing I'm going to be looking towards. But other than that, I just want to keep growing, grow my reach, make more content, make better content, make more money, all that kind of stuff. Do you think it's still possible to break into gaming on YouTube, or is it better to try streaming on Twitch? I think it's probably easier to break into gaming on YouTube than it is on Twitch. But in either case, you know, all it takes is one big stream or one big video to get you rolling, to get your whole thing started. But the thing about gaming is it's unlikely that you're going to have a viral gaming video unless you like do something completely unique and you're the first person to do it, or you find this awesome game that nobody has found before and you do like an awesome, you know, gameplay or reaction. Or if you're really, really good at a game and better than most people, and then you make a video showing how good you are, or also showing how helping other people get that good. Like I have a friend who is a speedrunner, and a couple years ago he set the world record for speedrunning Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, I think. And that video went viral, got a million views. But beyond that, you know, his videos would get like 100, 200 views. But he made that video that showed off how good he was at the game. So if you have something like that, other than that, like there's no reason for a gaming video to go viral. Like why? Like why would it go viral? So like anything else, it's going to be a slow grind. This is what people don't understand about YouTube. It takes a long time. No, you don't blow up overnight. Nobody does. Well, some people get big boosts, but nobody just makes videos and then like 5 months later they have 100,000 subscribers. You know, maybe 1 in a million people that happens to, and so no one should ever expect that. So it's a slow grind. You should expect to get a little bit for like 7 years, and then maybe by then you have enough subscribers to where you can say that you know you're a bigger channel. I think if you want to blow up fast, the easiest way would be to come at it with a different angle. Like if you're just doing Let's Plays, you know, there's like literally 1,000 billion people making Let's Plays. So you need to find a way to make the Let's Plays different and interesting if that's what you want to do. Or you can come at gaming in a different way. Like, you know, I don't know, like for example, Did You Know Gaming? That's a YouTube show. That's just something that didn't exist before, where they're like giving you cool, interesting background tips about games, you know, stuff like that. Or probably an easy way would be just get really, really good at a semi-popular game and either show people how they can be good at it, or just show off how good you are at it. And people will follow you for that. And that's probably that probably would work on Twitch more than YouTube, but you can try it on YouTube as well. And you should honestly be doing both anyway. It's all about distribution. Like you should distribute your content on as many platforms as possible. Anyway. Do you think medical pot will get legalized in more places because of PTSD sufferers wanting it? Was talking to someone who thought they were a big part of the movement. I think that will be a big part. I think that medical marijuana is definitely going to become more and more legalized for various reasons, but that's probably one of the more convincing reasons, I think, for some people. What games are you playing at the moment? I just started League of Legends again. I was playing World of Warcraft, but I stopped. I just mainly just wanted to play for a month, and the month is over now, so I just stopped. I might get back on at some point. But other than that, I don't really have any of the new games. I'm probably gonna get a Switch at some point, but I'm low on the cash flow right now, so I have to be very very miserly about what I'm purchasing. Is that the right word? I feel like that was like a high school vocabulary word. I don't think miserly is exactly the right word. I mean, it kind of means stingy, but it means it like in a negative way. So that's not really what I mean. What? Yeah, frugal I think is a more neutral connotation. I just can't make too many frivolous purchases. It's just not. It just wouldn't be a good idea. Like I could, but it just would be ill-advised. I wrote up a budget for the first time in a long time, and I'm gonna try to stick to it. Well, in my budget that I wrote up, I allocate a certain amount of sort of spending money for the month. And so like maybe if I've been doing well, I can just use a big chunk of my spending money on something that I really want, but I just won't be able to buy anything else for the month. My Secret Santa got me Skyrim for the Switch. Damn, what kind of Secret Santa do y'all be doing? Usually when we play Secret Santa, it's like fucking $10 per person. This little Rubik's Cube is like impossible to move. Need to like put some grease in there. Right. All right. Oh, I guess that makes sense. If it's like between family, then you can do a little bit more money and then everyone gets something halfway decent and no one has to be mad. I actually have I have the Zelda game on Wii U and it is really good. I definitely did buy that for myself, but I already had a Wii U, so it wasn't that big of a splurge. But honestly, like video games probably would be good for me because I my problem is I get bored, and when I get bored, that's when I start making questionable financial decisions. That's when I start like just looking through Amazon, or that's when I just like decide I'm just gonna go to a bar and fucking spend $50 on fucking beer at a bar. So I feel like if I just had some cool video games to play, I could just use that to cure my boredness whenever I got into those fits. I do want to upgrade my computer, and that might be a financial thing that I could justify because my whole entire life and career takes place on the computer and the internet. And my computer is really old and out of date and I just really need an upgrade. But it would definitely cost a lot of money. But I think I could actually justify that and I think that it would be worth it. But there's so much stuff that I need slash want that it's hard to even decide what you want first. Do you think the far right sentiment in America would reach the current levels? No, I didn't think that we would have Nazis marching the streets again. I definitely didn't think that. I didn't think that America would elect a person who got on TV and said that Mexicans are rapists. Definitely didn't think that. I can safely say I didn't think that that would happen. Are you a full-time YouTuber? Yes. Still broke though, but I make enough to where I don't have to have another job, so that's cool. Very happy about that. Very fortunate. I understand that that is not common. Yeah, having two PCs would be good. Am I actually a janitor? No. Did I know that Sargon made a video defending Jenk? I did not know that. I kind of can see that. He seems to make a habit out of defending shitty behavior. Merry Christmas, Stephanie. Well, like I said before, whatever you do in the privacy of your own home that doesn't hurt anybody, I'm not personally going to be worried about it. You know, live your life the best way you know how. But it is interesting to me, a person that can can do something knowing that if someone found out that you did that, that they would be really upset and hurt, but you still do it anyway. Like, to me, that, you know, there's something to be said about that. What company am I partnered with? I'm not partnered with any company. I think the argument had something to do with how long ago Jenks said what he did. Well, yeah, I mean, I would defend Jenk as well. But the problem is, I don't think that Sargon is an honest person, and I don't think that he is a well-meaning person. So I'm suspicious of anything he does and says. But in general, I agree. I'm on Jink's side 100%. Like, if we were all held accountable for the dumb shit that we did 10, 20 years ago, then none of us would be able to do anything. None of us would be able to have any jobs or be part of any organizations. If we had to resign from all of our organizations and jobs because they found out we said and did something shitty 20 years ago, that just, you know, that's just not I don't think that's a reasonable situation. How can the left compete with people like Sargon? What do you mean, compete in what way? I don't think that's the way you should be looking at it, as in competing with the person. Stand up against, well, I don't know that that's what needs to be done. At least that's not my strategy. I don't really feel like, see, I don't see this in terms of this sort of like personality war or this culture war that a lot of people are talking about. Like, I don't, that's like incoherent to me. I don't feel like I'm in this war against other public figures or other political figures or other people with different political opinions. Like, I have no interest in that. Some people feel like that's useful, and, you know, if that's how they feel, that's fine. You know, some people think, hey, this person is attacking me and people like me all the time, so I need to attack them back or I need to defend myself. But I don't feel like that. I have no desire whatsoever to do that. How you stand up to stuff like that is by presenting your own ideas in a civil way and engaging an audience with your own ideas and making the world a better place and stuff like that. It's not how I look at it at all. Would you rather meet Drake, but he looks like a snake, or meet a snake that looks like Drake? I want to see a snake that looks like Drake. That would be hilarious. What are your thoughts on viewers that use ad blockers? If you're using an ad blocker, the way I think about it is, if you like that a website is free, then using an ad blocker is hypocritical. If you're saying, I would pay for this website if I could, but there's just no way to right now, but I hate ads, so I'll use an ad blocker, at least that's consistent. That doesn't really apply to YouTube or Twitch, because both of those sites you can pay for if you want to. If you're on a site that you don't care about, and you would be fine if it went away and didn't exist anymore because it couldn't afford the bills, and you use an ad blocker, that's consistent. But if you're on a site that you like and you don't want to go away, and you like that it's free, you have to understand that the reason it's free is because of ads. So what you're doing is, when you use a site that's free and you put an ad blocker on, your usership of that site is literally being subsidized by other people watching ads. And to me, that's just kind of douchey. It's kind of like it's kind of like if you were going to the movie theater, and there was like a line where people paid and a line where people didn't pay. But the people on the line where people paid, they each had to pay twice as much so they could pay for one person that's not paying. So that's how I feel about ad blockers. I personally, I turn off, basically what I said, I turn off ad blockers on sites that I want to continue existing and to continue being free. So that's like YouTube, that's Twitch, that's news sites that I like reading, anything that I want to be free and I appreciate that it's free. And especially any site that involves independent creators. That's just me personally. Like, I have a deep respect for independent creators out there trying to do some work and make a living. So anything that involves independent creators, I'm turning off ad block, assuming that the creators are making money back from those ads. But if I'm on just some random site that's like stupid and like I don't give a shit about it, especially a site that has particularly annoying and intrusive ads, then I'll turn the ad block on, because your site is pissing me off, and I'd be okay if you didn't have it anymore, but it happens to have something on it that I'm gonna look at right now. So that's my spiel on ads and ad blockers. Merry Christmas to you, Akash. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? I just want to see a horse-sized duck. I would definitely lose the fight, but that would be amazing. I want to ride a horse-sized duck. What happened with Cenk, by the way? Just like he wrote in a blog like 20 years ago about just some really like misogynist, dumb, conservative bullshit. And it's just really, I don't know, I can't even remember the verbatim things, but it was something about it's just misogynist. Like, it was like literally misogynist and bad. You can look it up. But he apologized for it, and it was literally 20 years ago. And Cenk has talked about many times how he used to be just a an idiotic conservative person. Like, he talks about that all the time, and so it's not like a secret that he used to be a piece of shit, because he says that all the time. Jermaine Bethune, thank you for the $10 super chat. Just popping in for a quick donation. Merry Christmas, homie. Holler at your boy when you see him in the streets. I appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you. Just get YouTube Red. You can download and listen to stuff later, and it helps the creator more. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you like, YouTube Red solves the whole problem with ad revenue. Like, if you hate ads but still want to support creators and still want to support this literal site that gives you so much entertainment, YouTube Red is an easy way to do that. And YouTube Red is actually better than watching ads in terms of supporting creators. So is there anyone you would like to meet, interview, or debate? There's lots of people that I want to meet. I don't want to debate or necessarily interview anybody, but I'd like to meet and hang out with lots of people. I want to meet Snoop Dogg. I want to meet Sarah Silverman. I want to meet David Letterman. I want to meet Rihanna. I want to meet I don't know. I was gonna say some YouTubers, but I kind of met a lot of them at VidCon the other year. How do you feel about 280 character limit on Twitter? It's fine. I don't know. I think it's fine. I personally like it because I'm fucking long-winded online, but I don't think Twitter is any better or worse because of it. I think it's just become numb to ads. I've never really minded ads, especially on YouTube. I think YouTube ads are usually pretty entertaining, so I don't ever mind them. And I don't, I guess, it's part of this sort of anti-capitalist sentiment that a lot of people have, but I appreciate being advertised. I appreciate when things that I'm interested in are advertised to me. Like, I think that's cool. It's not always things I'm interested in, but that's part of what the internet is doing, is trying to figure out things that you would be interested in. So, and when it works, I appreciate it. I've bought things because I've seen them on ads, or I've checked out websites because I've seen them on ads. So I don't mind it, Electro Lomain, thank you for the $10 super chat. Yo, Kev, Merry Christmas, homie. It's been a good year. I appreciate you as a creator. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Appreciate it. But yeah, I've never really been that opposed to ads. I admit sometimes ads are annoying, especially on certain sites. It's really common on mobile. Like, I think maybe we're still figuring out mobile ads, but some mobile websites have super fucking annoying ads that like take up the whole screen and are like really hard to remove, and it's like confusing how you're supposed to get rid of them. Like, that's annoying, and I hate that. And I also kind of hate TV commercials. I think TV commercials are kind of an antiquated method of advertising. but I'm okay with them. You know, they're not ruining my day. And again, sometimes they're for things that I'm interested in. Hello, Josh. How's it going? But another thing about ads too is sometimes what the internet algorithm thinks you want to be advertised is not what you want to be advertised, and it can be really annoying if that's what they've determined about you. Like this happens to me where like I watch a lot of videos and I read a lot of content about business and entrepreneurship and self-help and things like that. So because of that, the internet robots have determined that I want to see ads about that kind of stuff, which is fair. However, most of the ads in that realm are a bunch of really sketchy get rich quick type stuff, like watch my video and I'll show you 3 steps to get super rich real quick, and then you can pay me like $90 a month for my 92 step guide to becoming a billionaire. And it's just a bunch of bullshit that I don't want to watch. But I get so many ads for stuff like that now, which is kind of sad. What's the super chats for? The super chat is just a way to support me, and you get the more you donate, the longer your message will stay on the screen. So you see how the $10 thing is still up there, and you can click on it, you can still read it if you want. So that's sort of like, that's like the novelty of the super chat. So like if you put like $100 super chat, it'll stay on there for literally like 2 hours. And I think the $10 stays for, you know, just like 5 minutes or something. Oh, I get a lot of fucking Ty Lopez. Honestly, I don't have that much of a problem with Ty Lopez. Like he spams fucking advertisements, which I can't imagine how that is getting him a return on investment. Like he had to have spent spent millions of dollars on ads. Oh yeah, I mean, if there's something that someone wants me to do for a super chat, then I'll do it if I can. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I can do for super chat. Right? It's just out of the kindness of people's hearts, which is cool. But I mean, if you want me to do something, I might be able to do it, unless it's weird. If I could play the piano, I would do that. Like maybe I can draw you a picture or something. I've actually, you know, that if I could find like something that I could help people with, that might be a way to generate some income, like doing requests for super chats. But I just don't know what. I don't think there's anything like that that people want from me. Like I follow channels. There's these YouTubers that are like, they help people build their YouTube channels and like help them to make their YouTube channels better, basically. And so they do like requests for super chats. They'll do like a quick channel review, like they'll link to their channel and they'll like tell them what they could work on, stuff like that. I thought you were just asking what a super chat is, but I guess you know what that is. How are the holidays with your family? I have a completely Hispanic household, so right now we're on the same page, at least with the president. Yeah, I have a black family, so I don't think that most of them are into Trump. Also, my family is half of my family is also Hispanic. So we're black and Hispanic. So we got double trouble. What was the word on the street before the Alabama special election? Were you coming across any more supporters? Not really. But that's just because of where I live. I live in the city, and I live in. I don't know if you guys are following the coverage on CNN or anything like that, but they have like the little map with all the blue and red counties, and then there's one like in the middle called Jefferson County, and it's a blue county, and it was like literally like 88% Doug Jones. That's where I live. So pretty much everyone that I know personally was a Doug Jones person. But if you go out into the country, you know, where all of like in the rural areas, that's where you find all of the more supporters. Yeah, I live in Birmingham. And Birmingham and not just Birmingham, but Jefferson County in general is generally heavily Democratic or heavily Democrat voters and liberals. Like I think we went like Jefferson County went like 70% for Hillary Clinton and fucking like almost 90% for Barack Obama. This is what a lot of people don't know is there's a lot of black people in Alabama, especially in the city. And I think the fact that you know, it's such a disproportionate amount of them actually voted, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, Doug Jones won. And if any candidate can get black people to get out and vote to that extent, like they could change the whole state. They could change policy in the state very quickly. But it's just hard for an Alabama to field a candidate that can engage black people. Oh, you're English. Well, damn. That's interesting that there's people like literally in other countries watching fucking an Alabama Senate election. I mean, it was definitely national news. I didn't realize that it was international news. Do you feel like your vote doesn't matter? I live in Super Republican Utah, and literally every person I voted for lost, and that doesn't feel great. Well, you have to think about it in terms of, you have to think about it more less in terms of I need to vote for this person so they can win. Because especially if you're talking about the presidential election, some states you're just never gonna vote for someone that's gonna win. Like I live in Alabama, and the Democrat is just never going to win in Alabama. You know, maybe one day, 85 years from now that'll happen, but it's just not a thing. But still, there's reasons to vote. Like, for example, if in Alabama the Republican wins by like 80% or has like 80% of the vote, that's interesting. But say the next year the Republican wins, but this time they only have 55% of the vote. That's something remarkable, and that's something that is going to be paid attention to by future candidates, by future governments. That's going to change up the entire political strategy. Imagine if another year the Republican wins, but this time some third party candidate has 10% of the vote. That is something that people are going to pay attention to. That's going to affect future elections. That's going to affect re-election campaigns, And then beyond that, there are other things to vote for besides the president. And this is where voting comes into play. And this is why we push so hard in Alabama for people to vote for Doug Jones, because we were like, this is an actual, Alabama hasn't elected a Democrat senator in almost 30 years. But this time around, we were like, we can actually win because it's a direct popular vote. It's not like the presidency. And so if a person who has voted for a Democrat for the past 30 years and never won had that attitude of, well, they're never going to win, so what's the point? Then this wouldn't have happened, And that's why it's important to vote. Individual votes, I think that people need to stop. I think people need to be more practical and be more honest about the fact that individual votes don't count for much, but large populations of votes are very, very important. And being one person is just a part of a larger group when it comes to a vote. And that's why everybody has to vote. Well, it's not why, you don't have to vote, but I'm saying that's why it's important for people to vote, because of it takes a lot of people to make things happen. And a person is just one part of a lot of people. And there are other things to vote for besides the senator and the president. Like, there may be a vote in your local city about, hey, we there's a fucking pothole, there's a giant pothole in the street, and we need to allocate some money to fix it, and we're gonna put it to a vote. Well, you need to go vote for that. Not everything is a matter of life or death, or a matter of Democrat versus Republican. Like, just using your voice to make your community better. Republicans win near unanimous support amongst white Alabamans. And this is what we've learned, is that's not enough to win elections if everybody votes. This is what I'm saying. I agree. We should use different. We should have a different voting system. I think there's been so many analysis of why first past the post is bad, but this is what we got, and it's better than nothing. It's better than a fucking totalitarian dictatorship. And I don't know how Utah is in relationship to Alabama, but I know that Alabama is one of the most conservative states in the country, but there's still large swaths of progressives in Alabama, and they're becoming more and more united and more vocal, and they're getting better at engaging the voter base. And something like first past the post, this is what I've realized. Like, if you can start small, sometimes you can have a snowball effect. Like, you could get elected to your city council, your local city council, and then propose the idea of a different voting system. Like, how about everybody gets 2 votes? What do you think about that? You could propose that idea just in your little local city council, and maybe you could convince them. Maybe you could convince 5 of the 9 members of your city council, and then they vote. And the next thing you know, local elections are handled using a different voting system. And then other city councils might look at you and see how well that's working, and then they'll try it. See, stuff like that can happen. This is what I realized. You can make small changes that can have a snowball effect. It's possible. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it's possible, and it's worth a try. But this, I mean, and this is part of the problem, is parties don't want you. Neither party, in America we have Democrats and Republicans. Both of them want first past the post because that's why they're the parties in power, because of the results of first past the post. So they don't want to get rid of first past the post. So they're going to do everything in their power to convince you and to convince the public that it's a bad idea, that it's stupid. What are they even talking about? So, that you have to keep that in mind as well. My family thinks I should go into politics, but I don't have the charisma. Well, it just depends on what you want. Charisma is a thing that you can develop. It's the thing you can practice. But, you don't have to run for office. You could volunteer for someone. You could write about politics. You could, there's different ways to get involved. Or you can, for example, you can get on the city council. You like rarely ever have to talk to anyone when you're on the city council, but you're still involved, Unless you're like the president of the city council, then you'll have to talk to people. Just literally just showing up. Like, you just show up to some local city council meetings and stuff, and just get involved. Like, I want to try to do that more, is just kind of just show up and just see what the hell they're talking about. Just know what's going on in your town, and then you can go from there. You can write about it. You can write a letter to the editor of your local newspaper. You can start a blog about local politics. There's ways to do it. There's things to do for sure. But it just depends. You don't have to. It just depends on what you want to, if you want to, Things are pretty pretty bad in America right now because the Republicans are in control of like all of the entire government, which is like kind of like worst case scenario because it's not even that much better when the Democrats are in control, but it is better. Anyway, I'm gonna stream for about say 20 to 30 more minutes. We're gonna start winding it down. It's been almost 2 hours. Definitely appreciate everyone coming to the stream. Hope everyone has a nice holiday or just has a nice day if you don't celebrate. It's kind of a more chill stream, I guess, but there's probably a lot of people doing Christmassy things, not sitting around watching my stream. But you know, I wasn't doing anything else, so I might as well just do my weekly stream as always. For those that don't know, I stream every Sunday. I don't know. I probably will stream next Sunday. Next Sunday is New Year's Eve. And I'm definitely going to be doing something New Year's Eve, but probably not this early. So I guess I'll probably be able to stream. We'll see though. Yeah, it's every Sunday around about this time. I'm kind of iffy with the times. I'm not consistent, but I like to say 1 to 3 p.m. is around the time when I start my time. So right now it's about 3 p.m. my time. So around this time, I try to start earlier. Like if ideally I want to try to start around 1. Do you feel a sense of refreshment on New Year's? I mean, kinda. Well, the thing about it is, it's sort of like the end of a long holiday season, at least for me. Like, I love the holiday season. I love the fall seasons. Like, I love the Halloween to Thanksgiving to Christmas, then New Year's. Like, I kind of like that stretch of just sort of good cheer and fun and food and stuff. And so the New Year just kind of marks just, well, it's time to start over. We ate our food and we had some fun, so it's time to like let's do this year thing again. So it kind of, for me, that's kind of why it feels a little refreshing. Merry Christmas to you, Tilhan. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced everything, but that's fine. But I don't know, my I've been trying, like, for me, I'm excited about 2018 because I'm kind of going into 2018 with a relatively new mindset about how I'm just going to go forward in life and the types of things I'm going to focus on. Because much of 2017 was like really frustrating for me because it was sort of when I got really into the political scene. And of course, it's the whole Trump thing and everybody's really sad. So it was like, in many ways, it was kind of a sad, frustrating year. But by the end of the year, I kind of decided that I'm going to, change my mindset and outlook and try to avoid the drama and focus more on positivity and focus more on optimism and, working harder and making good decisions and things like that. So I'm excited to like implement that in 2018. What do you reckon the Democrats' chances of winning next year? You mean like in the Senate or in the congressional races and stuff? I mean, it's unlikely that Democrats are going to take over Congress. Like, it's possible that they could get the majority in the Senate, but I don't even think that's going to happen. And I definitely don't think they're going to take control of the House. But we'll see. Like, a lot of people said that this Doug Jones thing was like a warning shot to the Republicans. It's like, y'all better get your shit together because, you know, you might get upset. But the thing about it is, you know, not every candidate is Roy Moore. Not every candidate is like an unabashed bigot who is accused of being a pedophile. You know, so not everyone is going to be that easy to vote against, but we'll see. There might be a couple of upsets, though. I know that the Democrats are not going to have enough people to impeach Trump, which I want to happen, but that's not going to happen because they need 2/3 majority in the House. And they're not going to convince Republicans to do it, so they would have to do it themselves, and they're just not going to have enough people. Well, I mean, they need a majority of the Senate to impeach him, but if they impeach him, then they need 2/3 of the House in order to remove him, and that's not going to happen. So it would be and I think honestly, it would be kind of silly to impeach him if they don't have enough people in the House. But maybe I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. But the thing about it is, if they impeach him and then nothing happens, that's just going to look like a victory for Trump, I think. So it may not even be worth it to do it. But who knows? Maybe some Democrats will make some surprise victories. Like maybe, and also the thing about this Alabama election is it was literally national news, and there was just pressure from across the country and across social media that was just convincing everyone that they needed to vote. And not every individual election is going to have that same coverage. If the Republicans do bad in the midterms, that could be a sign that sticking with Trump is a long-term bad move. I mean, maybe. I feel like Republicans know that already, though. I don't think they're thinking about long-term. I think they're thinking about short-term gains. Like, I honestly think the Republicans are just trying to ride this shit out for 4 years. And then as soon as Trump is gone, they're going to dump him and pretend that he never existed. And even like I don't think they have a real loyalty to Trump. I think that he's just useful to them in the short term. What do you think of the Jill Stein Russia FBI probe? is there an FBI probe? I didn't even know about that. I saw that she was accused, that I don't know, they were just talking about how that she was like, she went to an event with where Russians were there, and then she was talking to Russians or something. I didn't see that there was an FBI probe. Voters in America are turning into strongmen who disregard, don't understand the importance of separation of power. Right. Well, yeah, I think that people didn't never really had to think about that because we didn't have an administration that itself didn't have any regard for separation of power. What do you think about Trump probably being a narcissist? I mean, I believe it. I'm no psychiatrist, but at least colloquially, he's definitely a narcissist. I don't know if he like legit has a narcissistic personality disorder, but if someone told me that, I would believe it. Yeah, that's kind of a weird emoticon to put right there. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to do a lot of damage control over just the mindset of this country. I think it's definitely been warped, and I think it seems hard to imagine that there's going to be a candidate that's more extreme than Trump, but it's possible. But if they're like, for example, if the Republican Party chooses a candidate that is closer to being moderate than Trump, Republicans are going to be confused and angry because they've been conditioned to be extreme and, you know, divisive and things like that. And so if there's a Republican candidate that's like, hey, immigrants are okay, they're not that bad, that's gonna piss off a lot of people because, like, wait, we've been told for the past 8 years that immigrants are the literal reason that everything is bad in our country. So, there's gonna have to be some damage control. And this is some and I this is something that I've definitely have learned, and that I'm gonna be going forward thinking is not is understanding how bad that it can be. Like, this, I think this is the problem, is we just didn't understand how bad it could get. Because, like, when I look now at some of the other Republican presidential hopefuls like John McCain and Mitt Romney, people who I thought were just awful and just would be terrible for the country, and now I see them now, like, that they wouldn't have been that bad compared to this. So going forward, I'm going to be a lot more charitable, I think, to Republican candidates. At least ones that, I'm not going to agree with a lot of their policy, but I think I'm going to be more charitable because I understand how bad it can be. Who's messaging me right now? It's just the portion of the U.S. that even thinks that's the case about immigrants. Yeah, I don't think it's the majority, but I think it's probably a large. I think it's a large enough portion of conservative voters that it would cause a rift if a conservative candidate came and defied that line of thinking. Did I see the Vox video about the Overton window? I didn't. That sounds interesting though. Vox usually makes good stuff. Thoughts on food stamps getting cut off? I mean, I oppose that. But I'm a big social program person. I'm in favor of I'm pretty much in favor of anything that helps people be not poor, be less poor. Ted Cruz would have been almost as bad as Trump. I agree. There are many people I think would be almost as bad as Trump. Like I went on record as saying I think Roy Moore is worse than Trump. But for example, Mitt Romney wouldn't have been as bad as Trump. He just wouldn't. John McCain wouldn't have been as bad as Trump. You know, like fucking Jeb Bush wouldn't have been as bad as Trump. You know, so like someone like fucking you know, there's people that probably like fucking what's his name? Rick Perry, like he might have been as bad as Trump. That guy's an idiot. Have you seen the video of the robot doing backflips? Are we making ourselves obsolete? I mean, you got to slowly roll a little bit. It's just a backflip. But I mean, eventually the robots will take over. It's fine. The Vox video is basically saying that Trump has shifted the Overton window to the right because anyone just slightly less extreme will be a relief. I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll be a relief, but that doesn't mean that we're gonna think it's okay. Like I say that Mitt Romney would be not as bad as Trump, but Mitt Romney still his goal was to give breaks to the rich and make the poor suffer, which is bad. So I heavily disagree with. And I don't think that's okay. Even after having seen Trump, I still don't think that's okay. And especially the left. I think the left is itself at the same time stretching the Overton window, because what the left perceives as acceptable is like their tolerance is going down. So I think it's being pulled on both sides. I agree that they ought to have been worse than Clinton, but I mean in superficial ways, which is enough, to be honest. But I agree. They were all worse than Bernie. Bernie was a candidate that I actually liked, so I definitely agree with that. Do you think Bernie could be elected? I don't know. I don't know about now, but yeah, he almost did get elected. One might argue that he would have been elected if not for the DNC trying to sabotage him. You know, some of that is based in truth, and some of that borders on conspiracy theory, but still. I mean, Hillary Clinton hits the basics of, mainstream Democrat. Increase taxes on the wealthy, increase minimum wage, you know, people other than white men exist. Things like that, she hits all the basics. So, that's pretty much all you have to do to be better than a Republican. And she accomplished that. To be what I consider to be a good candidate that I want to vote for, you have to do more than that though. And that's why I say only superficially, because both the Republicans, both Hillary and whoever Republican candidate she faced, is going to be a disaster in terms of foreign policy. A lot of innocent people are going to die because of their foreign policy, for stuff like that. They're still going to be, secretly making deals with Wall Street and stuff like that, so there's still going to be stuff behind the scenes that is not that much different. But superficially, they're going to be opposite. And that's good enough to beat a Republican, and I'll take it, if that's the option. Do you watch secular talk? Sometimes, not a lot. I don't know. It's something about it. Like, I prefer David Pakman and I prefer Majority Report. I think I just like those personalities better. But secular talk is all right. In terms of that sort of format, the sort of like news commentator format. Do you think without the DNC sabotaging Bernie, we could have avoided Trump and electing him? Well, I don't think that it's 100% confirmed that the reason that Bernie lost to Hillary Clinton is because the DNC sabotaged him. I think that's, one could argue that, but I don't think it's confirmed that that's true. But I do think that Bernie probably would have had a better chance at beating Trump than Hillary did. But it's, at this point, it's like, I don't know if it's even worth it to bring that up. It's just like, it's already done. Let's figure out what we need to do next. But I'm gonna go, guys. It seems like the chat sort of picked up there when we started talking about Trump and stuff, but I don't want to start talking for another hour. But feel free to send me an email if you want to ask me more questions. hello@theonejanitor.com. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr. If you have the social medias, please follow me. That'll be cool. Hope you guys have happy holidays and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, or just a happy, good week. Try to stay positive. I hope that you have a great day, and I hope you do something to help someone else have a great day. If you'd like to support this stream and make it a little more sustainable, consider becoming a patron. I think a lot of people think the Patreon is just for the main videos, but it's also to help support the stream, and just make all of this more sustainable for me. So even just $1 a month is amazing on Patreon, patreon.com/theonejanitor. I guess that's about it. Once again, Merry Christmas. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.